This video is about how to pack best for a trip to Israel. So right now I'm sitting in a hotel. I'm on the first leg of this trip right before I go to JFK and fly out international. And I thought this would be a good time for me to take what I have packed and kind of walk you through it so you know what to expect, what you need to bring. And the first thing I'm going to tell you is you need to think about this early. So start preparing ahead of time. That way you get everything you need. That way you don't have to stress out about it as the trip gets closer. Now, just a little background about me. This channel is just about anything ministry related. So if it has to do with Bible study or if it has to do with ministry preparation, then it's fair game to be talked about on this channel. Especially right now, this trip to go to Israel to study the Holy Land, it's more of a research trip. And it's a great opportunity that my whole family has gotten, actually. So all of us are going to be going on this trip together. But this is my first time traveling internationally, so this is new to me, which is beneficial to you. If you've never done this before, then I know what you're thinking and I know where you're at right now and how you're feeling. So from a beginner's perspective, this is how I have prepared for Israel. And this video is going to be two different parts. So the first part is what you're watching now, me in this hotel room explaining how I have packed before the trip. Then I'm going to come back at the end of the trip and I'll tell you anything that maybe I should have thought through differently, or kind of takeaways from the trip, what I would do differently for next time. If you look at this first suitcase, this is my main suitcase. You can tell it's not that big. You don't need something huge. At least I don't think you need something huge. And I'm going to pull out of the top right here. This is just all the documents that I have for this trip. Okay, so this trip is maybe more intense than the one that you might be taking. We had a lot of things that we were required to do, paperwork and such, before going on this trip. But the main thing I'm going to use for this video is my packing list, which my sister actually made. So start walking through this. My main suitcase, what I have basically is just clothes. You know you need clothes for the trip. And let's start out with this top section. I'm bringing in some bubble wrap just in case I get some souvenirs that I want to protect. And then this is just a piece of paper. On the other side it has contact information, so if my suitcase gets lost, I can find it. Now in here, if you have a dress code, you want to look nice anyway. So just pack some of your nice clothes. I packed them separately in this bag. You can pack it together. This is just what I decided to do so that I can access these easily. Then I just have in each day's clothing, I have it in its own bag here. So you can see like this just has like my essentials, and each of these has a label on it, whether it's for cool weather or warm weather. So you want to, actually here's a good tip, you want to actually look at the weather a few weeks before you go to Israel so that you kind of know what time of year you're going in Israel, and you can kind of figure out what the temperature is going to be around the time that you're there. So that's something you want to do before time. You want to do that ahead of time. Then what I have is just a bag. This is one bag because it's for my dirty laundry. And each day what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the clothes that I wore that day in this dirty laundry bag, stick it in the back of the list here, and then each day as I cycle through these clothes, I'm going to just put those clothes right back in this bag so that way I keep it separated. I'll just cross out the word cool weather, warm weather, and write dirty on that so that I know these bags, they're all separated, they're all individually stored, so that I know I've already used those clothes. So putting that back right there. Then I just have toiletries. Now for me, this trip is going to be between 2 and 3 weeks total travel time. So I just have extra like body wash and shampoo. If you're not going on a trip for that long, you probably don't need to pack all of this. I might not even need to pack all this. Not quite sure yet. I'll tell you at the end of the trip. Then I just have some hats because you do need to have your head covered if you go to some of the religious sites. So just keep that in mind. Your head does have to be covered for some of those. Some more casual shirts just for traveling. Then this is, okay, so this is a coat. You can kind of see it folded up here. That's just a jacket. And then I have some pairs of khaki pants in here. Hard to see, but I like to crush it in these like airtight bags so that you can really seal all the air out of it. It makes packing a lot easier. And this is just all my other pairs of khaki pants, and then in the back I have some extra socks and some extra t-shirts. So I'm kind of over preparing for this trip. But for you, if you know exactly how many days you're going, exactly how much you need, just try to pack as precisely as possible. And then it all fits in here really neatly. What I've been told is that anytime you travel to Israel, your luggage is probably going to be gone through by the airport at some point along the way. So having it in bags makes it a lot neater, to where if my luggage has been sifted through, when I get to the first hotel that night, I can actually just reorganize it this way. It's really simple to fix if it does get messed with. So putting all this stuff back. Thanks. Okay, so the next suitcase is going to be your carry-on suitcase. And I know at least right now, a lot of the flight regulations have been changing so that you can only bring a tiny suitcase. So be careful when you look at the dimensions of your suitcase. If you're going to go buy a new one, make sure you have one small enough where it'll actually make it on the plane with you. So I'm going to open this up and show you what I have in here. So again, I have a card right here. You can just pull it out, and it's going to have all my contact information if someone finds this. Again, I have my clothes arranged in these individual bags going across here. That way, if my luggage does get lost, I have some clothes in here that I can go for several days without needing that. I have my Bible, which is not in here right now, but I'm bringing my full-size Bible. Very nice Bible, Cambridge Bible, KJV. A book for the flight. And this is some of my journals and leather notebooks. I just put them in a bag just to protect them a little bit more, and that's going to stay with me the whole time too. So that's just some books. These clothes can get matched with any of these shirts. So these are just some polo shirts that I can wear for a few days. Then obviously pajamas. Over here I got just a hat because we're going in the spring and it might be a little cooler. So there's that hat. Then I have, here is basically my carry-on toiletry stuff, and got to be very careful so the bag doesn't break. But anyway, so this is basically the setup here for the carry-on. You really want to make sure you bring a Bible. A lot of people say don't bring your nice Bible, but I really want to bring my nice Bible. I'm just going to take care of it. It's in this box, and I want to make sure I have that with me in the mornings for my devotional time. So that's something that if you can take care of your Bible, if you're going to put it in something that's well protected, it's well worth figuring out a way to bring that. The other thing up here is I just have a few more books. So a book on Jerusalem and a Bible Atlas. Bible Atlas in there, satellite Bible Atlas. So something like this is what you want for your carry-on. Now, you don't want it to be too cumbersome between your 3 pieces of luggage here, because you are going to probably be responsible for carrying all this stuff with you throughout the country. So just kind of think that through. You also want to make sure you have, obviously, your passport. If you have a vaccination card, you want to bring that. I'm bringing masks just in case. You never know. So that's the second piece of luggage. Now we're going to move on to my bag, which doesn't matter as much probably because you know what you need to bring, and it might not be the same stuff that I bring. So my bag is mainly for my camera gear. So my backpack here is mainly for my camera gear. So I'll tell you a couple things though that you will want to carry with you the whole time you're in Israel, regardless of if you're trying to do some videography or if you're trying to do photography or whatnot. You do want to bring some sunglasses, so that's a must-have. Then in the front here, I'll show you. Here, I have a smaller Bible that I can carry with me. It's also in a box, so a smaller Bible that I can carry with me everywhere I go in Israel. Also bags for currency, so when I get my money switched out and exchanged for the shekels, I have some bags for that, and I'll probably be making another video about the whole money process once we get that figured out. Then I just have markers, pens. If you're traveling internationally, you do want some pens. And that's basically all you need to know for this. I personally just have like a tripod. I have a flashlight for Hezekiah's tunnel. We're going. That's all in the front. Now this top section here, I'm going to pull all these out just so you can see. Obviously a phone charger, AirPods just to listen on the flight. Up here. Okay, so then if you want some probiotics, then extra batteries for the camera. Which I have. And straps. And I think that's it. So that's all I have for in here. So just basically phone chargers, batteries, things like that. Just the essentials. You do want to bring a water bottle of some kind. Okay, so now just to think through the main compartment of this backpack. Up here I do have a Joby GorillaPod just for filming. And I'll actually show you what I'm going to use for filming, even though you might not be as interested in that. The first thing I have in here is a pillowcase, because one of the tips that I've learned just from watching YouTube videos and stuff like that is we're coming from a colder area, so I have a coat, and this is what I'm wearing here while I'm here right now. But what I'm going to do whenever I get to the plane is I'm going to wrap this up and put it in a pillowcase. That way I have a pillow on the flight. So that might be something you want to do. So I have my pillowcase right at the top. Then I have my camera bag here, just so I have access to my camera. This is just chargers. So this is something you want to be planning ahead for. If you know you're going to be going to Israel, you want to get this stuff early so it's not as stressful. Screw this stuff out of the way. So basically the main thing is this is just charger for my camera. The main thing you do want to make sure you have is one of these adapters. This is the adapter that I got from Septics, and it's going to have this 3-prong in the back. That is what they use in Israel. It's the Palestinian adapter there. So this will give me a way to charge my camera, my phone, any other batteries that I have, charging bank or something like that. So you do want to make sure you look up one of these and you find something that's good that you can pack with you, because you will need that. And I've heard they're kind of hard to find once you get over there, and that's not something you want to worry about anyways. So that's the main stuff there. You can just put all this stuff in a bag too if you want. This is just my extra power here. And then I have some cables down there too. So that's all packed in there. Next, super important, I have my rain jacket. Just came unfolded. So basically this is wrapped up inside of here too, so that I have access to it anytime I'm out and about in Israel in case it starts raining. Underneath that I have this container here, which is just a hard shell case. This probably doesn't apply to most people, but this is just, I keep all my camera stuff here. So I got just mics, and right now I'm filming on my camera, so that's why I have this here. Other microphones is just a case for my sunglasses. I can put my sunglasses in here if I'm not going to be wearing them right then. This is for my camera. So this is all just camera stuff, but that goes in here. So that's the majority of what I'm packing. My camera supplies, then my camera sits on top of it up here. Then any chargers you have, raincoat, and an umbrella. So that's basically what I'm packing inside my bag here. So you can see that all is going to go with me every day in Israel. Now the last thing I want to tell you to bring from this list of stuff here is slides, which I'm actually wearing right now. If you are going to get wet or going to go to like Hezekiah's tunnel or something, you do want to bring some slides or something to wear. Now I'm just wearing these because I'm in the hotel and they're comfortable. What you're going to be walking around in, you want to have some nice shoes. So either a nice comfortable pair of tennis shoes or something that's going to have good tread on them so that you can walk around in Israel without slipping. So that's basically everything on my packing list to pack. So you want to make sure you get whatever money you need, whatever medications you need. And there's some other tips that I'll share as well in other videos. And then watch the rest of this video and I'll tell you after going to Israel what else I might have needed and what I might have packed that I didn't actually need. Alright, so we made it to our first hotel. We're here in Ashkelon, and this is just the first night of the trip. Just barely flew into Israel today. So I just want to give you an update on a couple things that are going to help you before the end of the trip. Just a couple things that we've run into in our flight to get here that I wish I had thought through a little bit differently. The first thing has to do with your carry-on, because there's a high possibility that your carry-on is going to have to get checked depending on how full the flight is. Most planes do not have enough room for every passenger on that plane to have a carry-on, even the size of the regulations. So, thinking that through, one thing that you are going to want to do is you're going to want to take a bag. Now, I just kind of did this the last minute, and I just had a bag sitting in here. But you're going to want to pack some of your stuff, like your more valuable things, maybe like a change of clothes or two in here. So like what I did was, because I thought we were going to have to check our luggage, so I rearranged this just in case. So I put my toiletries, my like 2 changes of clothes here that come with their respective bags. So that's 2 changes of clothes worth. And then any kind of power plugs that you have, or any kind of chargers. Obviously, if they do check your bag, you can't leave these in here. So I had these stored in here, just some backups and stuff. So that's what you want to do. You want to pack some of that in your bag, in this suitcase, right from the very beginning. So that way, that's going to save you some hassle. And that's going to be one less thing that you have to think about. But like I said, we're in our first hotel, about to spend our first night. And that's one of the updates I wanted to share with you. The other one is having to do with my full-size luggage. So let me just switch this out real quick. Okay, so the other thing is just with this one, you want to make sure if you do lock it, which I do recommend, most people that travel recommend to lock this one. If you put the lock on the zipper in the front, it seems like there's a greater chance that it could get caught between the conveyor belts and could rip this whole thing right off, the lock and the zippers. So what we did was we all put ours over to this side and didn't seem to have any trouble. So just 2 extra tips, and then keep watching for the rest of the tips from the travel side of this video. I will say, so far it seems like this is going to be a great trip, and I can't wait for the tips that I have at the very end of it for you. Alright, this is day 16 of this trip, and it's the 13th day, I believe, that we have been in Israel, and we have a little bit of sunburn to show for it, and a knot on my head from hitting Hezekiah's tunnel. Watch your head, Zach. It's all fun and games until someone bangs their head. But it's been a great trip, and so I'm going to just tell you a couple of the things I would change from what I mentioned that I had packed, and a couple things additionally to think about, and some things to revise. So the first thing that I have here is just following up from the last video. Make sure you think ahead, do your research as much as possible, so that while you're here in Israel, you don't have to worry about thinking things through or things that you didn't think about. Also, just stay flexible and try to learn as much as you can while you're going, and you're going to have a great trip. I know you're going to really enjoy it. And then make sure that you take notes and correct later the things that you wish you had packed, so that when you travel here for your next trip, or you do something additional in the future, you're even better prepared for the next time. Make sure you include a lot of prayer in your preparation, and always thank the Lord for safety and for the wisdom that He gives you as you go throughout the trip, for everything you're able to see and things like that. And make sure you try to have a good testimony throughout the entire trip. That's really important, especially in front of your tour guide, in front of the group that you're with, in front of other groups that you're around, and just the Jewish people as a whole. Try to have a good testimony. So let me reiterate that we came here in the month of February. So that's the springtime, and it was mostly warm about every day. There was like one day that it was a little cooler, and one of the more recent days of the trip, we spent the majority of the day underground in Jerusalem, going through Hezekiah's tunnel, the Western Wall tunnels, things like that. And even those days were pretty warm. So if it's warm in February, I would say pack mostly for warm weather. So light clothes, a t-shirt, a button-down shirt that you can roll up the sleeves to, or some kind of polo shirt or something that's very breathable. Pack warm clothes, so reiterate that. And if you just bring a jacket, you should be fine. That should cover you for any cooler weather, just a light jacket. That should be the warmest article of clothing that you bring, would be a jacket for a guy, or a sweater or something for a lady. Also, I did not need all the extra shampoo. I'll just show you this. This is all the shampoo I have gone through in the entire 16 days of this trip. And I have taken a shower every day, so you do not need to bring extra shampoo, extra all that stuff. Try to really pack light. All the hotels that we've stayed at, they've given you shampoo, soap, towels, so don't pack any of that stuff. Don't pack anything that you know is going to be there. The only time that I did need a head covering was at the Western Wall, so I didn't even need to bring any of my hats, because they provide head coverings there. So beforehand I said that any religious site you might need a head covering. The only time that actually happened was at the Western Wall, and they have those there provided for you. So don't worry about bringing a hat unless you want it for shade. Prepare for each day the night before. So for example, if you need a flashlight or a head covering or a jacket, set aside those change of clothes the night before. Or if you need an additional pair of clothes, like if you're going to be hiking and you're going to be really sweaty, or if you're going to go through Hezekiah's tunnel and you want some dry socks and shoes, or a dry pair of pants or something like that. Because by the way, the Hezekiah's tunnel the water does come up to your thigh, so it goes way above the knee. It'll get your pockets wet. So if you have anything in your pockets, you want to take those out beforehand, put it in a backpack or something. But think that through the night before, okay? Because your tour guide might or might not prepare you for the next day, but you want to be mentally prepared for the next day. Any change of clothes you need, any specific kind of clothes like a rain jacket, an umbrella, think that through the night before. And I will say this as well, when you go to the Temple Mount, okay, you are not allowed to bring any books. So they will check your backpack. They'll check whatever you bring onto the Temple Mount. You're not allowed to have any books, any tracts, especially a Bible. They don't allow that. So remove that from your backpack, either on the bus on the way there or the night before, just to make sure none of that gets confiscated, because they will keep your Bible if you have it in your backpack, and you want to not get that taken away from you. So make sure you think that through as well. If you're going, say, to Hezekiah's tunnel in Jerusalem and to the Temple Mount on the same day, you can bring everything in your backpack that you need. So cameras are fine, an extra change of clothes is fine, batteries, water bottle, anything like that is fine to bring onto the Temple Mount except for books. So just take the books out, but you can still have your flashlight and everything else in your backpack. That's all fine. So the only thing really to worry about with the security going on to the Temple Mount is books, literature, things like that. Sometimes if you have like overlays or pictures of like maps with the temple on it, or like a Bible atlas, anything like that is really risky because they might take that from you. So just remove that from your backpack. Another thing I'll say is I didn't need all the extra pairs of pants that I packed. Okay, so I would go light on that. Really just having 2 or maybe 3 pairs of pants to wear the entire time, your entire trip, that's plenty. There are places to do laundry, but I would say plan on not doing laundry. So that's where you want to bring a lot of t-shirts, fresh shirts, any undergarments, anything that you're going to be wearing on a regular basis. You want to bring plenty of that. So bring extra clothes in that regard. But when it comes to like your pants or your shoes or a jacket, pack really light, okay? So basically what I'm saying is try to slim down on the things that you need to pack and be pretty minimalistic if you can, to try to save room so you don't have to drag that all throughout the country, your entire trip. So do bring extra t-shirts and extra pairs of clothes if you want to change in the evening going to supper. That's an idea. A couple things I'd like to revise from what I said earlier. Again, just pack as lightly as you can. Try to think through exactly what you need and only bring exactly what you need, which is hard, I know. For the first time when you're coming to Israel, you don't really know exactly what you need. So that's why I'm trying to help you. But if you don't think you're going to need something, I would say don't pack it. Here's something that's helpful if you're going to go through Hezekiah's tunnel. At least when we went right here in the spring of 2023, they do sell water shoes in the city of David stores right there before you go down into Hezekiah's tunnel. So as long as that's still there, I would say don't bring, water shoes or something like that. You can get a pair of water shoes for like $10 or $15 there, and they're pretty nice. They pack really tight. So just buy a pair of those water shoes, get a plastic bag at the store that'll keep them dry, or when they're wet, you can keep it separated from your other luggage. So that's a tip. My backpack served me really well. And shout out to Panasonic because my camera worked flawlessly the entire time. So that was really good. Just also think about water though. If you're bringing valuables and stuff in your backpack, or you have like maps or a camera, electronics, think about the water, a way to keep them dry. Another thing I'll mention is my pillow idea that I mentioned about wrapping up my coat in a pillowcase and using that to sleep on the plane. That's a great idea still. But just don't pack your coat in your checked luggage. Because when I got to the airport, I packed my coat in my checked luggage thinking I'm not going to need this anymore. And then I obviously did not have a pillow on the flight other than the little pillow and the little blanket that they gave me. So if you want to use that idea, just make sure you keep your coat on you so you can actually use that as a pillow. And you definitely do want to be prepared if you're going to go through Hezekiah's tunnel. If you're a leader of the trip, try to prepare your people for the kind of change of clothes they need to bring, how deep the water is going to be in the tunnel. Make sure that they have a flashlight. Prepare them for that before they go on the trip, and then remind them again the day before, okay? So they know to bring a change of clothes. They know what they can have in their backpack when they go on the Temple Mount. Just try to think that through for the people if you're leading the trip. And if you're on the trip, then hopefully this helps you be a little bit better prepared. So that's all I have for you for packing ideas. Hopefully that's a help. Go back and watch the first part again, and this again is the follow-up. We'll be doing more videos on what the hotels are like, on how to figure out the money side of things. That can be a real challenge, so make sure you kind of wrap your mind around that before you get to Israel. And then we'll also be doing some videos to show you little snapshots of what it's like in Israel, some of the scenes of these cities that is so amazing and so relevant to Bible-believing Christians. So I hope you'll continue to watch these videos on this playlist and enjoy your trip to the Holy Land.